The feminine is so amazingly powerful, but there are so many women who don't know how to take advantage of this energy, or maybe there are things that hold them back and keep them stuck. So let's talk about how to step into your feminine power. Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new around here, my name is Jills and I talk about all things wellness and self-development for women. So if that's something you want to learn more about, be sure to hit the red subscribe button below as well as the notification bell so you don't miss when I put out any new videos. As you guys know, I love talking about feminine energy and helping women step back into this power more because it's something that's so underrated and it's not really talked about much, not really taught much. And not to mention, there are so many confusing and belittling messages out there towards women. You're either too much this or too little that, and it's just quite frankly very exhausting. And I think this has caused a lot of women to lose sense of their innate power that they have within them. But I want to help instill that again. So let's talk about how to step into your power as a woman. So the first thing that's really important when it comes to stepping into your power as a woman is to master the art of boundaries. So the masculine is the giving energy and the feminine is the receiving energy. And this is a really big and important aspect of the feminine. So because we are that receiving energy, we tend to take on other people's stuff quite easily. We might take on their energy, their negativity, whatever it is. We might take on other people's problems, other people's emotions. The feminine is naturally very empathic, and this can be such a great strength, but it can also hold us down and bring us down too. It just depends on how we use it and what we allow in. That's why it's so important to have clear and firm boundaries in your life. Although the feminine is the receiving energy, you get to choose what you allow in. When we take on other people's stuff, or we let other people zap our energy and our joy, or we do things that we don't want to do to please other people, this leaves very little left for us, and this drains our feminine essence. So this may be setting boundaries with certain people. This might be setting boundaries with work hours. This might be saying no when you know that you need to. It's about identifying and honoring the boundaries in your life to help you thrive and live a joyful and vibrant life. And when you do this will help the feminine to truly shine, to have more life in you, to attract in more easily what you want, and that feminine magnetism that's innately within you will be so much stronger. Be clear to yourself and others about what you need and minimize time spent with people who don't honor your boundaries. Remember that people who don't respect other people's boundaries, it's usually because they don't have very clear or strong boundaries for themselves. And this is not just about creating physical or practical boundaries, there's also energetic boundaries. So if you feel like someone's energy has stayed with you long after they're gone and you don't like it, you can meditate or just think about for a little bit cutting that energetic cord between the two of you, and you'd be surprised at how well this works. The second thing that's so important for stepping into your feminine power, and something that a lot of women struggle with, including myself, is to get out of your head and into your body. So think about the masculine and feminine like this. The masculine is the analytical, problem-solving, logical side, and the feminine is the feeling side. Instead of focusing on logic, it focuses on how things feel in their heart, in their body. It's loving, it's intuitive. This kind of stuff, it's not in your brain, it's in your heart. And that's why it's so beneficial that we have both of these energies within us, because I think you could easily see that one without the other, we would really suffer and really swing off into the deep end in one direction, and that's not really good. We need the intuitive and feeling side, but we also need the logical and analytical side too. But so many women are stuck in their head, but they need to get out of their head and drop into their heart and into their body. And I'm gonna be honest, this is something that's hard for me because I've always been a chronic overthinker and my brain is always buzzing. And so it takes a lot of work for me to drop into my body. I have to be very intentional with this. But the things that have really worked for me are movement, especially dancing, moving your hips, feeling the music. This has been a really beneficial practice for me and really helps me drop into my body, but really just any movement in general, as well as being in nature, meditation. These have all been really helpful. But when we're too much in our head, this can really hold us back. It can lead to anxiety, perfectionism, low self-esteem, low energy, poor health. It can really hold us back in a lot of ways, but one of the biggest things is it prevents us from hearing what our heart and our body have to say. And our heart and our body are very wise and can be some of our best guides if you just take the time to listen to what it has to say. So that leads me to my next point. Your intuition is super powerful and can be one of your best guides. And I feel like a woman is going to have a hard time truly stepping into her power until she's able to hear and listen to her intuition. So when we drop more into our heart and into our body, this strengthens our intuition because we're able to disconnect from our logical mind for a second and just see what our body is trying to say. And our body and our heart, it picks up things that the logical mind sometimes can't comprehend. It picks up energy, and we feel this in our body and it communicates with us. A lot of times our body can tell us exactly what we need, and when we're tapped into this energy, this can be a huge advantage. Although anyone can be in touch with their intuition, women are naturally much more in tune with this than men, and this is something that should be appreciated and cherished and listened to, even if people don't really know where you're coming from. So if you get a random feeling or random inner knowing, don't ignore it. This could be really powerful guidance. And if you don't yet quite trust your intuition, that's okay. It is a muscle that you build up over time. Maybe you might not act on these inner voices right away, but you can still listen to them, acknowledge them, and maybe try to decipher over time if that was in fact your intuition, or maybe just an emotional wave or a fear-based response. Another thing that's really important, and this might not always be in your control, but you can definitely try and do the best you can, is for the feminine energy to truly shine and step into its power, it has to feel safe to do so. So what does this mean? When the feminine feels unsafe, it'll kind of revert back into its cave inside of you, and the masculine part of you will come out to protect you. This is why fostering a safe, non-judgmental environment and relationships is so important, because if you don't have this, then the feminine might not feel comfortable enough to be seen. So it's important to feel safe in your relationships with your partner, with your friends, to feel safe enough to be vulnerable, to feel safe enough to open your heart and not have your masculine shield up all the time, to feel safe enough to drop out of your head and into your body, but also to feel safe in your own body too, to feel safe within yourself. This is just as important. And also to not put yourself in any unsafe or uncomfortable situations. Again, this ties back to boundaries. Be smart about who you hang around with, who you spend time with, where you spend your time. When you're in a safe space, both emotionally and physically, this is when your feminine can really come out and you can take advantage of all that it has to offer. So for a woman to step into her power, she needs to use her innate gifts, and one of those gifts is her magnetism. Again, the feminine energy is the receiving energy, and it has this amazing ability to attract in what it wants, and it can act like a magnet. So the masculine energy is very much the energy of outward action and going after what you want and maybe being a little bit aggressive, but the feminine is all about having things come to them. It's about knowing that what's meant for them will come to them. And we live in this hustle culture world where everyone is always pushing and struggling, and if you're not struggling, then you're not really that successful or hardworking. But it doesn't have to be like that. When you know that you are worthy and you know that what's meant for you will come to you, then you will energetically start to attract in that which you want, that which is aligned with you. And if that isn't powerful, I don't know what is. In case you can't tell, I feel like a lot of our power as a woman comes from understanding energy and how to use it to your advantage. And I think that's something that's not really taken seriously in today's world, and I think that this does the feminine a disservice. To the logical mind, this concept of magnetism might not really make much sense, but energetically, it's really quite simple and powerful. So with this in mind, let's move on to my next point, and let's talk about letting go of control. I think a lot of people equate power with control, but there's also a lot of power in surrendering. So let me explain. A lot of women, not just women, a lot of people, we try to control everything to feel better, to feel safe, because we want things to work out in the exact same way that we see in our head. The reality is that we can't control everything, and this just drains our energy, gives us anxiety, it prevents us from living in the moment and feeling joy and stepping into our feminine. This isn't about surrendering to things or people that make you uncomfortable. You get to choose what you surrender to. But you can sometimes choose to let go of that tight grip of control we have over some aspects of our life, and this might look different for different people. But when we can try to let go of some of this control, this frees up our time and energy for other things. It allows us to focus more on ourselves and our lives, and allows us to focus more on the things that we can control. And at the end of the day, this surrendering actually gives us more freedom, and freeing ourselves from the constant chatter of our brain, from stress, from worrying caring, this allows us to make more of an impact and truly step into our power. Another way for you to step more into your power is to reevaluate your mindset and be honest with yourself about how you feel and what you tell yourself about the feminine energy. Do you feel that being vulnerable and showing your emotions is weak and makes you less than? Do you feel like your intuition and creativity, like it's not really that valuable? If you feel this way, then it will make it nearly impossible for you to truly step into your feminine power, because every time that you try to do so, you might feel uncomfortable or like you're not good enough or that you're weak. So if this is your current mindset, I think one of the first things you should prioritize is this: reframing those beliefs, relearning the value of the feminine. Remember that these thoughts are all just learned behavior, and therefore you can just as easily learn new information to override this. So ask yourself, what are you telling yourself about the feminine? Is it supportive of you stepping into this power more or not? You have to see the value in the feminine and know that you are worthy to be a powerfully feminine woman. I hope this video encourages you to step more into your feminine power, but remember, it's already innately there. You just have to bring it out. Now be sure to check out these 2 videos as well, but before you go, let me know in the comments if any of these points resonated with you. I'd love to know, and don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys.